all those moments will be lost in time.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So, fun story. I filmed this before, and the sound was so terrible that I'm filming again. The good thing is that I think I've figured out what the problem was in the first place, so hopefully the sound will sound better, and you guys can let me know. So this video is supposed to be stream of consciousness. Since I am filming it for a second time, it might sound a little bit more put together just because I've had time to rethink about my thoughts, think about the anger and the way I wanted to fucking throw this mic out the window. But it was my own fault, so not on the mic. I even cried in the first video, which y'all aren't gonna see. I know you must be so upset. I'm gonna try and leave this as unedited as possible, but when I talk about this topic, I take a lot of long pauses, usually so I don't start crying. And even if I got really angry before, I already feel like my eyes are watering again. So maybe we'll get the tears, who knows? Stay tuned to find out. I've not been well. And I indicated a while back that it had taken a toll on my physical health. And you know, we all hear that shit about, you know, if you're too stressed or your depression is like too intense, it can take a toll on your body. And I knew that and I believed that, and for some reason it didn't really sink in until something happened to me. So nothing of like terrible happened to me. And I'm really sorry if this is too TMI for some of you. My patrons will kind of know, but I didn't even tell my patrons about exactly what was happening. But essentially, due to stress, I stopped getting my period. And this happened for 7 months. 7 missed periods, right? So at one point I was just like, okay, I knew I wasn't pregnant. I knew that something was up, and I got a bunch of tests. A lot of tests I felt very uncomfortable with. And the doctor was just like, I'm not the doctor you should be seeing. This is all psychosomatic. The doctor that you should be seeing is a therapist, which is a good point. And that's a different story. But what it did make me start thinking about is, hey, why am I like this? And there are two main things that I think are great contributors of why I'm having mental breakdowns every week, which school is one of them, but I'm not going to count that in because it seems kind of like an obvious one. But there are two main things that I really want to talk about because I think that a lot of us might struggle with these things, and maybe you guys will relate. I don't know. Maybe this is completely useless. So the first thing is bottling up, and I know that this is such an obvious thing, right? But I feel like it's one of those obvious things that all of us know, yet we still kind of do it anyways. And what I mean about bottling up isn't necessarily not expressing your emotion, whatever emotion that is, but I think there is this constant kind of struggle to get rid of it as fast as possible, like to be okay as fast as possible, to bounce back as fast as possible. And as much as I agree with that, of course, because I'd rather be sad for less time than more time, I also think that there is a process, and not everyone has the same process. I'm just talking about for me. I need to feel things. And when I feel things, I need to feel things all the way from A to Z. I need to have the closure of having felt the emotion, maybe having had a couple hours, days to wallow, and then I get back up and I'm fine. The thing is, because of our lives being so busy, most of us are busy all the time, and busy includes having a life, being social and stuff like that. So we never really have time to think about these things, but because I'm so busy with school and work and doing schoolwork and doing YouTube, and I'm never going to say that YouTube is a burden, so don't perceive it that way whatsoever. Doing YouTube is so much fun for me. Even if I cover topics that are heavy, it's never really heavy for me. Like, I get comments sometimes where people are just like, you should stop doing these kinds of topics. I feel like that's what gets you down, and honestly, it doesn't get me down. And even if we're talking about really heavy things, I still enjoy making those videos because I enjoy talking about things that interest me and knowing that you guys will hear me out. And even if you disagree with me, I know that most of you will hear me out. And that's something that I really care about. So doing videos on heavy topics is never really a draining source for me. Pretty much these past few weeks, I've had my weekly mental breakdowns, and it's so much of a thing that it's in my schedule. It's actually in my schedule. Like, my mom will ask me, has it happened yet this week? Which is a really depressing thing, but I also kind of think it's really funny that I kind of schedule my breakdowns. Like, I have time slots for them sometimes, just because I'm like, I can't afford to have my mental breakdown while I'm at work. So I'm going to be like, okay, Thursday, 7 p.m., like... Oh, that's so messed up, dude. Anyways, and the reason these breakdowns occur is because a lot of the time I am so focused on bouncing back, on being resilient, that I never finish feeling the emotion. Like, I was on the phone with my mom earlier today, and I was saying how I thought this week was going to be a piece of shit, and I still kind of think that, honestly. But because I have so much stuff to do, and I only have 2 weeks left of school, which is kind of a big thing. And she was like, don't make it a self-fulfilling prophecy, which ironically is the advice I had given her the day before. But I completely agreed with her, but at the same time I disagreed, because if I need to feel like shit, and if I need to feel like this week is going to be shitty, I just need to feel that. And I'm not going to let it turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy, but at the same time, I'm not going to halt this emotion just because I don't want it to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Does that make sense? I need to be allowed to feel that I think this week is going to be a piece of shit week, that I feel like a piece of shit, that I woke up wanting to die. Like, I need to feel all of these things today, so the rest of the week, I can actually do the things I need to do and turn it into a productive week, and hopefully turn it into a not piece of shit week. But I need to feel it now, or else this feeling, this repressed feeling, is going to come back even more repressed because I've pushed it down once more, and it's going to come back at a time when I can't afford it, like when I'm writing my final paper. And it's not, like, I understand that there are times when we just can't afford to have a mental breakdown, like there's so much shit we have to get done that we can't do it, but I feel like there are plenty of times where I could have expressed my emotions. Like, if I wanted to, I could have screamed for 2 hours. If I wanted to, I could have cried for 2 hours, but I didn't. Because I was so focused on having to be okay. And I know that it's so stereotypical and cheesy to be like, it's okay to not be okay, whatever. But that's really the bottom line here. And I feel like societally, because everything is so competitive and because we always have to be on top of our shit, we don't end up feeling the things we need to feel to be okay at the end of the day. And we have to be okay immediately. And, you know, even just talking about it, since this is take 2, in my first take, I had to stop filming for 15 minutes. And even then, I rushed myself to be okay. You know, like, it's like, I need to finish the video. I need to make sure that I can get this out there on time, whatever. So it's hypocritical, really, what I'm saying. I am a hypocrite in that aspect entirely. I'm working on it, but I'm hypocritical. A second thing that I feel has impacted me quite severely, and I've mentioned this before, is the lack of celebrating small victories. And obviously, celebrating small victories has to be in moderation, you know? Like, you can't celebrate too much because otherwise you're not doing anything anymore, and you can't be too uptight where you celebrate nothing. I've been uptight. Shocker, right? And the example that always comes to mind when... The example that always comes to mind when I think of this non-celebrative kind of mode in my head, this kind of taking for granted, this not giving myself a pat on the back, whatever. Okay, so I graduated with my BA in English from UC Irvine in March 2017. I graduated a quarter early, which is a cool thing, I'd say, right? Like, something that you might be like, hey, you did a good job, you worked your ass off, whatever. The day I had my last class, I went home, drank a little bit of Prosecco, went to bed. I'm not saying I had to go out and celebrate and, like, be crazy or do anything crazy. The thing is, like, the mental mechanism just was not there. Like, there was no There was no, hey, you did a good job. Hey, you're a step closer to your goals. There was no mental processing that I had accomplished something that is not easily accomplished. And I have a hard time finding that line between humility and fact when it comes to myself. And the fact was that I'd accomplished something that's not easily accomplishable, and I was getting closer to my goals, and I'd done it early too. And that to me is really fucking sad, and I'm working on it. Like, that's why I have this tattoo, Fight for Your Right to Party. That's supposed to be my reminder. I'm still working on it. Clearly not doing too well, but if I do that more, I feel like that is such an easy way to integrate more happiness into your life and more general appreciation towards yourself, because I have like I'm not going to open the door to my self-loathing, because we're going to be here for a very long time. But I feel like that would be such an easy way to love yourself, to just acknowledge your accomplishments. I'm not saying throw a party every time, like do whatever you want, but you know, at least mentally acknowledge yourself like that. And I haven't, like, nothing. Like, I might write on Twitter, like I posted something after my first semester here doing my master's. I said that I got a 4.0. Mentally, nothing. No recognition that, like, it was hard. I really... Okay. I'm gonna be right back. See, this is what happens when you repress. I'll be right back. Okay. So I worked really hard to get that. And mentally, it just did not click. I did not give myself credit. I still, most of the time, feel like I'm not doing anything, you know? And I feel like if I gave myself credit for the things that I do, I wouldn't have, you know, like, my depression in some ways would be better, because I wouldn't feel like I'm a piece of shit who's doing nothing, who's making no difference, who's, you know, and I'm sorry, that got really heavy and really dark really fast, but that's what I'm talking about, you know, like, one small act could have prevented some of this, not all of it. I'm not saying it's going to cure your depression, but I'm just saying, just proactively being like, hey, I did a good thing, or I did this right, and I'm proud of who I am. That makes a huge difference. But it's just like, we're not really set up to do that. Like, my mom was, you know, she's always been super proud of me and everything, but even with that great nurturing role model, I still am not really capable. And my mom has the same problem towards herself. She doesn't give herself credit. And I wonder how much happier we would be if we did. So I don't know. I've always thought those were two big factors in why, you know, like, I am the way I am. I don't know. That sounds really generalized, but I don't know how else to put it, really. And I know that for most of you probably didn't make it till this part, but I feel like that's something I need to share with you guys, because if we interact like 3 to 4 times a week, you know, even if I'm talking about shitty Tumblr or whatever, I still want you to know where I'm at. And I guess that's because I also want to know where the YouTubers that I watch are at. And, you know, maybe some of you maybe feel less alone now. I don't know. You can let me know in the comments. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up here because I've gone on long enough. Sorry about that, but I just thought it was time. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching if you're still here. I'm not going to put any fan art because I don't think anyone wants their fan art associated with this buzzkill of a video. Let me know in the comments how you guys are doing, what you're struggling with, if you feel comfortable with it, just how you are. I always want to know, and I'm always reading the comments, just so you know. It's been harder for me to interact with you guys, but I'm always reading them. And I even check up on old videos to see what you guys are saying. Anyways, I'm out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, and I promise I'll be less of a buzzkill. Bye, guys.